This is America's Roundtable from Washington, D.C., a weekly radio program with leading voices from America and international thinkers representing the academia, business, media, think tanks, and the political arena. I am Joel Anand, your co-host, joined by Natasha Srdoc, economist and chairman of the think tank, Adriatic Institute for Public Policy, and co-founder of the International Leaders Summit. Thank you for joining us on America's Roundtable this weekend. And Natasha Srdoc, I believe it's just very appropriate for you to share some of your experiences and also a word of encouragement to our fellow Americans.
Thank you, Joel. My message to the American people is to be engaged, involved, and vote. Voting is a privilege, and do not take it for granted. Come out on November 6th and vote. Enjoy your privilege to elect leaders who will protect America's liberties. I was running for office in the parliamentary elections in my native country of Croatia last year, 2011. One of our 72 candidates, Mr. Natasha Srdoc, a 70-year-old retired colonel, known book author, and anti-corruption fighter, was arrested on trumped-up charges on the day his candidacy was publicly announced. In Croatia, there were 1 million illegal votes for a country of 4.2 million people. Croatia and many countries around the world have not had free and fair elections in their history. In a number of undemocratic nations around the world, unelected officials have usurped government powers and worked in non-transparent and corrupt ways, blocking the establishment of the rule of law, independent judiciary, and protection of property rights. They do not want to establish 3 independent branches of government. There are no checks and balances, but dictatorships by a few who are abusing the rest. For centuries, people from all around the world have been coming to America to pursue the American dream, where individual liberties and individual rights are protected and government powers limited. Many have been persecuted in their native countries for their religious beliefs and fled to America, where they enjoy religious liberty. The results of fraudulent elections and the misery that has been brought to ordinary people by unelected officials in a number of countries forced many of us to come to this exceptional country in the last wave of immigration. Please do not take the individual rights, the freedom of speech, the rule of law, independent judiciary, and protection of property rights for granted. Protect these guardians of liberty by voting for the leaders who believe in the Founding Fathers' principles. American people built this exceptional country. Let us preserve it for the next generation.
Thank you, Natasha. Natasha Srdoc is an economist and co-founder of the International Leaders Summit. Next week, Tuesday, November 6, 2012, our nation will hold an important presidential election, a defining election during our generation. And we, the people, will determine who will lead our nation from the White House and the halls of Congress. We citizens have a sacred obligation and opportunity to influence America's future. As Natasha Srdoc shared today, countless millions around the world do not have the opportunities and citizens' rights which we have in our nation, a constitutional republic. Unfortunately, many of our fellow Americans have taken for granted these unique privileges. In the 2008 national elections, out of the 231 million voting age population, just 132 million, some 56.8% of our nation's voting population, took their citizenship seriously and voted. Hence, some 44% of our fellow Americans did not vote. Some 99 million Americans stayed home. On November 6, 2012, we have an opportunity to change that statistic, ensuring a higher turnout by getting up that morning and voting, and encouraging our family members, friends, and neighbors to vote. One of America's founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin, stated, "Any people that would give up liberty for a little temporary safety deserves neither liberty nor safety." In the Declaration of Independence, our founding fathers agreed to the following words: "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." In order to preserve and advance America's first principles, we must be engaged and involved. As we have discussed on America's Roundtable, with significant challenges in our nation, such as the high rates of unemployment, out-of-control spending by the government, waste and fraud. Last weekend on America's Roundtable, U.S. Senator Tom Coburn made mention of his findings in a report titled Wastebook, detailing some $19 billion in government waste. Dr. Coburn mentioned that $200 to $300 billion of the federal government budget, taxpayer funds, are lost to waste, fraud, and abuse. Today, we have a $16 trillion debt. According to media reports, the debt now equals approximately $136,260 for every household in the country, increasing by $48,848 per household, some 50% since January 20, 2009. America has the highest business tax rate when compared to the rest of the competitive nations. We need more than a robust debate on principal reforms. It is time for principal leaders to step forward and implement real solutions by eliminating the debt, the waste, fraud, and abuse. Our nation needs a limited government rather than government encroachment and intrusion. Our nation is in decline with less economic freedom. Winston Churchill once said, "We contend that for a nation to try to tax itself into prosperity is like a man standing in a bucket and trying to lift himself up by the handle. As Americans, we can do better. We have seen throughout history that the spirit of America, the hard work, sacrifices, and dedication of citizens built this exceptional nation we call America. Over the course of history, our country chose George Washington, and in recent times, Ronald Reagan, a principal leader who led our nation during times of uncertainty and guided her to greatness. However, in order for that to happen in the years to come, we citizens must be engaged and actively involved in choosing leaders who will restore our nation's financial health and preserve its liberties. We cannot pass these challenges on to the next generation, including a huge debt which will relegate them to becoming a generation in debt with lost opportunities and limitations. President Ronald Reagan, in his inaugural speech in 1981, shared these words. Under one such marker lies a young man, Martin Treptow, who left his job in a small-town barbershop in 1917 to go to France with the famed Rainbow Division. There on that Western Front, he was killed trying to carry a message between battalions under heavy artillery fire. We're told that on his body was found a diary. On the flyleaf under the heading, My Pledge, he had written these words, America must win this war. Therefore I will work, I will save, I will sacrifice, I will endure. I will fight cheerfully and do my utmost, as if the issue of the whole struggle depended on me alone. President Reagan further states, the crisis we are facing today does not require of us the kind of sacrifice that Martin Treptow and so many thousands of others were called upon to make. It does require, however, our best effort and our willingness to believe in ourselves and to believe in our capacity to perform great deeds, to believe that together with God's help, we can and will resolve the problems which now confront us. President Ronald Reagan concluded, and after all, why shouldn't we believe that? We are Americans. At America's Roundtable, we are optimistic about America's future. We remain optimistic that our fellow Americans will vote on November 6, 2012. We wish you a great weekend, and may God bless America. This is America's Roundtable. Visit us at americasrt.com. Follow us on Twitter at americasrt. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook. Like and share.